What's up, YouTube? I've been wanting to do this video for probably at least a week now, and this one I'm gonna call. I think I'm gonna title this one "A Black Man Who Doesn't Have a Problem with Donald Trump." And the reason why I don't have a problem with Donald Trump is because the main opposition and alternative to Donald Trump was um, one could say is a female clone of Donald Trump. Okay? So that's why I don't have a problem with him. That's it. It wasn't all in depth or what you might have thought. Whatever he's gonna do is the same thing that Hillary Clinton would have done. It's no different. Like, she's not about to come in here and make decisions that are not conducive and in line with white supremacy and domination of basically everybody else so that they can live free and comfortable and do what they want to do. That's it. Like, it's a certain class of people well, it's not a certain class of people, but they're making the situation like it's a certain class of people. So therefore you have a group of people arguing over women's rights. You have a group of people arguing over men's rights. You have a group of people arguing over homosexuality. Like, you have a group of people arguing against homosexuality. So all in all, you have all these different things going on, and running around are actual real people dying, real people starving, real people going through real situations. And it's not that I say that everybody could fix everything with just, a snap of the finger, but at the same time, no one's actually talking about those things. And to me, that's really the issue. Whenever I talk about things, I always try to talk about the point of it. And what's the point of it? Like, what's the end result of me knowing this? Or the end result of the point of this versus everything else I could have been talking about. And the shit is crazy because you talk about things that most people talk about things that aren't even affecting them. Like, if you're not gay, homosexuality can't possibly affect you in any way because you're not gay. So therefore, it's not directly affect you. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't bother you. But people being murdered in the street, basically by the whims of officers, that should bother you. Like in Louisiana, I think the state is now, man, where they just passed some law that it'll probably get shut down, but as of right now, it's in effect, and it's people who are going to be affected by that shit. And being affected by that shit literally means to be kidnapped and to be taken away from your family, from your life, whatever you had going on, and that's how it is. And you're just sitting there. No one's going to be able to pay your rent. No one's going to be able to, so your light's going to get cut off. Someone's going to come in and throw your shit out on the street. Like, the shit is crazy. But no one talks about that shit. Like, that's the real problem in America. The fight is really the court system. You know what I mean? Like, you could beat the police if the court system wasn't corrupt. Because you wouldn't have to worry about beating them because they wouldn't do the shit they do if the court system wasn't corrupt. These people who suppose that they're your judges, like, that's a real tricky thing when you deal with the knowledge that we know we live in an open white supremacist, built and ran state and country. So with that being the case, how can one possibly, with all good faith and logic and one's own reasoning and thought process, come to the conclusion that you could possibly ever get a fair and meaningful hearing and situation in dealing with these people? How could you fucking think that could happen? Like, I was foolish enough to think that could happen. Like, I remember when I educated myself to the point where me, as a black man in America, I was happy to go to court. I could not wait to go to court. Because I knew some shit. And not only did I know that shit, you know when you read and you learn shit, it's like, damn, all this time that's been going on and I had no fucking idea. And so I'm reading this shit and I'm like, wow, I didn't know you didn't have to, have a driver's license. And I'm reading, and then this is not just my opinion, this is for the same thing I'm getting this off of an Ivy League school's website. Put it that way. I wasn't Googling it. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm reading this off of Cornell University's fucking website, I'm like, hey, how the fuck are they getting away with this shit? Like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna assert my shit and I'm gonna blah 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 blah. And you know what the fuck happened, dog? Them motherfuckers locked me up. Because they let me know it's not about that, man. We know we full of shit. We do that to convince you that we're doing right because we don't assume you're going to actually read the law. That's why most people don't even know what the fuck a citizen actually is, what a state actually is, what any of these things actually mean. You don't know what any of those things actually mean, but you say them all the time. And you have people who are college educated and more and have no idea what these things actually fucking mean. So it's like you have a bunch of people walking around here pretending like they're intelligent or pretending like they're dumb or pretending like they're middle class. All of this shit is going on all the while we're arguing about mundane bullshit, and all the while the real problem and the real power is right up the street in that building surrounded by police officers. Because that's the stranglehold on black people. That's the stranglehold on our community. That's the stranglehold on everything. Like, if you went to court only for crimes, meaning injury, loss, harm, or damage, fraud, that's it. You told someone you're going to do something and you didn't do it, and you took their money. Yo, you can't just do that, fuckhead. You can't just... That's fraud. You're frauding them. That's a crime. You damaged them. You took their property and you took their money for a service and never provided the service. Just like your government. They say that they'll provide a service for you. What service? How do you service the shit out of me? How do you work for me, but if you mad at me for not listening to you who works for me, you could... Come on, man. So that's the stranglehold. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? With our community. The problem with our community is not donating money to Sarnetta so he could get a news van. That's not why we fucked up, because we ain't supporting Sarnetta. We're not fucked up because we're not sending Polite money to live out his fantasies in Hollywood and be like some, I guess, popular guy out there. Okay? The problem in our community is not making sure we make sure Umar Johnson get his money so that he don't have to give your sons back to you. This nigga saying you ain't gonna give it. Like, that's not the stranglehold on the community, man. Not whether the Hebrews will serve the Egyptians or really were vassal kings or whatever the fuck. Like, this, come on, man. That's not the problem. The problem is you getting up, walking outside, some fucking European guy in a costume says something to you. You as a man or woman don't appreciate it and won't stand for it. That, because you're on a planet existing, and why should you have to fucking endure the fucking torments of someone else? So you fucking defend yourself verbally. They get aggressive, you get aggressive. What's going to happen from there? You're going to end up in jail. You're going to end up in court. And they're going to side, the judge, that lawyer, is going to side with the other lawyer that works for the state. Because he works for the state and she works for the state. So therefore, there's 2 state paychecks right there, not even counting the cop and the bailiff and everybody else in the fucking courtroom. So you're fucked by this fucking fake-ass system that everybody pretends to uphold and pretends to be a part of. And that's the problem in our community.